Hey Nadim, it's really good to see you again, and welcome to this moment where you have agreed to bare your soul and do some work with me, and we're going to see where it goes. You said there's something that you're working through, various things that I know you work on yourself a lot, and so with the parameters for this is we turn up, we see what's fresh and live for you right now. You get some time to express that, and then I may have to ask some analytical questions, and then we're going to dive into your inner world to see what we can do to bring out from within that which would serve you best today.
Thank you, Tom. Really see you as always. And yeah, I'm going through a bit of a challenge at the moment where I am expanding on so many fronts. I'm feeling really good, quite confident, and a lot of great things are happening work-wise in everything, in every sense. At the same time, I've got that. Um, I feel there's this little part of me that's been there and that I've been suppressing that is quite terrified actually. And so I've always been seen as the happy, confident, and that's where I am in most of the time. But there's this little part of me that I haven't acknowledged much in my life that went through, yeah, quite a bit of challenges. I think it's uncertain. It's there's fear. There's stuff that comes up, and suddenly I actually change my personality. I become a lot more stressed, a lot more, and I believe less. So I suddenly fluctuate, and people see me in that. I mean, gung ho. It's like everything's happening. It's great, and it is. But then suddenly I have that little doubt because things don't come often because they don't go as fast as they seem to be. So things don't materialize. So a lot of people speak, we know it's about around the corner. I'm running a company with 11 people, and we all know that it's around the corner that success, but money's not coming in as fast as it should be. Makes, I mean, me stressed because I'm supporting all of this. And in that stress, instead of keeping that strong confidence that, well, it is around the corner and it's, it just takes a bit more time, always takes more time than this, but well, not always, but often does. I go into that pretty anxious self, and that affects my management. It affects everyone because suddenly I start questioning almost everything. And so that's not, I would love to acknowledge that part of me and help really um, not suppress the fear as I've always been, because that's what I've always been doing. And I acknowledge it. I wasn't even aware of this, by the way. I mean, I think most people a lot of them don't acknowledge their fear. It turns into stress and things like that. So it's kind of, there's something there to be worked on, and I feel it. So would love to explore this with you because I've done a lot of deep therapy, a lot of regression, things like that. And I realize how important it is to acknowledge these parts of ourselves, the inner child that actually been, in some cases, things have happened, and rather than suppress them, they have to come up. That's what I'm.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, and I know you've done lots and lots of work on yourself, and people often say, well, how long do I need to continue kind of, looking at my stuff or doing inner child work? Or I meet someone, they're like, oh, I've done inner child once. It's really good. I'm like, if you've done inner child work and it's been effective, then you understand you'll be doing inner child work for the rest of your life. And people are like, oh, I don't want to do therapy on myself for the rest of my life. It's like, that's not what it is. It is a deep adopting and befriending of yourself. It is investing in the relationship with the person that you spend every waking day with. It's this is
I totally agree with this, and I have a lot of friends around me who ask me why, because they take me as an example of who they want to be and much more comfortable, and they're spending being able to be free and all of that. So they're like, why are you still doing a retreat or another session and and it's still difficult for me to explain how, but once you are in that path, you're not afraid of what you're going to uncover. On the contrary, it becomes the please, like, let me know what else I can actually uncover. Not because, and everyone goes, oh, but you're seeking something and you're not finding it. And so they associate this with, oh, people who are lost.
mm,
And that's the difficult bit to explain. It's like, but on the contrary, you found yourself, but you just realized there's actually other bits that you haven't And instead of being afraid of opening Pandora's box, that's what I hear a lot. But why would you open Pandora's box if you're good? Well, you open Pandora's box because actually you're not afraid of having the risk of seeing stuff that you might not be really comfortable with. But it's becoming comfortable with this uncomfortable that really connects you to yourself. And then you show up in a completely different way in the world. And so so it's not easy for a lot of people. It's not so easy, but that's one of the things that I hope we can be the bridge to, is to help people realize that the people who are examples, who are great examples, they'll continue to do their inner work because they've realized that there's always another level, and it's not out of fear or out of I have to do the next thing. It's just like, oh wow, okay, yeah, I'm ready for the next level, and it's beautiful, and you just feel better and better.
100%, right? It keeps feeling better as you're reclaiming fragments of yourself that were frozen in time, that didn't feel good about themselves, didn't feel good about life, and they're worried and they're stressed, and they still live in environments of distress, frozen in memories that are long past. And so we're just going in, and people say, yeah, you're opening a can of worms. It's like, no, pretty sure we're rescuing kids, right? What's not to like about that? If you knew there was a kid locked in a cupboard in a house who was really scared, who didn't need to be scared because the war's over, it's fun. Knocking on the door, going, kid, come home with me. You should see my house. It's epic, right?
The thing is that you're describing already to people who already kind of understand inner child work.
Yeah,
because that's I think that for a lot of people, they don't even realize what you mean by knocking on the door of the chair. And I didn't really understand it until you just start being able to almost see this little other part of yourself that's really afraid and who's still stuck in time. So and as you say, you're just like, oh, come, let me give you a hug because I'm fine. I'm actually
we're
fine.
good.
Stop protecting me. Stop protecting me.
I mean, I like my home, right? I really do love my home now. It's beautiful. Right? Your home is epic, Nadim, right? So when you take your inner child to go, hey, come look at my house, it's just like, oh, we're good, right? Things are good. and it's important, people don't realize that when there are moments that we were overwhelmed, these parts of us, sometimes our most capable, most creative, most playful, most charismatic aspects of ourselves, are frozen in time, locked in fear, and the negative emotions associated with those memories are also trapped in our body. So our happiness level is determined by the average happiness of your lockboxes. And if you've got 30% of your lockboxes holding on to abject terror and misery, then that's the degree to which you are affected by anxiety when, even if life is average. But put yourself then into a situation where your business is taking slightly longer to take off, or cash flow starts getting tight, and then all of those lockboxes get agitated. It's like rattling the cage of this existential terror, most of which pertains to a time that is long past. And so being able to then instead go, oh, I've hit an anxious patch, I'm going to work on myself and get back to feeling good. It's like, no, great. I found a kind of tone of uncertainty that I can follow. And I go on a search and rescue mission to find these parts. It's like instability, uncertainty. These are opportunities to locate these moments in time that need healing. Because actually, so many people that I work with don't necessarily have big trauma. They may have certain moments of terrible trauma. But in the main, what I'm working with through this unleashing work is not necessarily that. Lots of people have done good work on that. It's actually the common garden variety, like difficulties and upsets that we've just gathered over time. Some of my biggest breakthroughs haven't been about discovering some terrible trauma in my childhood. It was a moment of neglect, or a parent wasn't present, or I wasn't interested, or I felt I wasn't interesting enough, or it doesn't necessarily have to be some big horror show, but that willingness to go and journey into anything and everything. Like the more we do it, the more we realize on the other side of this, I feel a lot better, like a lot better. So we start to get excited. We're like, oh, I'm a bit triggered. I'm feeling a bit scared. It's like, cool, let's go on a journey.
Yeah.
Let's go and find this part. And of course, it's important with this work, as you know, Nadine, that we're going to go in, we're going to see if we can like agitate that uncertainty a little bit, so
Mm.
you can locate it. And we're going to do our best to make it feel safe so that it will talk to you. And maybe within that, memories will arise from your childhood. Could be your early adulthood, could even be some of your early entrepreneurial difficulties that might be
Mm.
healing. That's been coming up a lot
Wow.
for me and for my clients I'm working with, whereby which, yeah, we've done loads and loads of inner child healing on their formative years prior to 7. And then actually their business has gone through a bit of a blip. And then what we've been able to locate is them in their late 20s when they were trying to get that first project over the line. And
Wow.
it either didn't make it or it was really, really difficult. And a lot of business people and a lot of successful people fail along the way. And we do the tough thing, we do the determined thing, we do the perseverance thing. But do we stop to go back to scoop up like 28-year-old Nadim, who was really struggling with that one project, and let him know that you've made it? Because when we start worrying about covering payroll, it's an easy way to track back to that time in the past when you had to let people go and the company folded and all that stuff that many entrepreneurs go through. And even
Mm.
if we don't go through it, we might have stayed awake many nights worrying we are going to have to go through it. It never happened. But all of this stuff needs, well,
Mm.
benefits giving it some time and space.
There's there's something there that, as you're speaking, let's see what comes up.
All right.
It sounds like you're already getting to yeah, making a very good point about there are some challenges I've encountered in my entrepreneurial life that may actually be affecting me, that may or either activate a previous memory or actually what's happening. So let's see.
Yeah.
I'm I'm
We'll go
here.
in.
Let's explore. Yeah.
Great. Well, so these things often, so let's say, for example, something did happen when you were, I said 28, just pulling an age out of the hat, but, it's 24 or 28 and it was about business. Of course, the trauma of that still connects to the unresolved trauma that we had at the time.
Mm.
And so
Mm.
in terms of our childhood, so we might have done all that healing, but then still it made it a lot more stressful because we weren't, we hadn't done our healing work at that point. And so they all connect. And so when you meet with these inner parts, which we'll demonstrate now, I really like creating kind of an open door policy where anyone related to this,
Mm.
you might be dealing with a 28-year-old, but then the 14-year-old starts pulling on your trouser leg, and it's like, I'm involved here. I'm involved here because actually dad's business went down when I was 14 and he never
Wow.
he never he never got over it. So for me, it's
Mm.
not, oh, I might have to fire my staff. It's like, I'm worried I'm going to have a nervous breakdown because it nearly killed my dad when his business went down. And all these
Wow.
different things that can compound
Yeah.
and affect our beliefs. So without any attachment to outcome and without any knowingness, we're going to go on a journey. We're going to explore some of these themes and we're going to see what comes up. Okay.
Right.
Great. So just take a moment just to close your eyes. And I want you just to check in with yourself because I'm going to ask your permission to lead you in this process. And I want you to really check in with every part of your body. I'm going to ask you if I have your permission to lead you in this process. I want you just to really make sure that if that's a full body, yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. And if at any point that changes and you want to stop or you want to retract my authorization as your advocate, you can. You can say, I've done enough for today and I want to stop, and you can just open your eyes. Of course, if at any point you feel really like terminating the process, that's sometimes indicative that there's some resistance, and resistance is often indicative that you're about to have a breakthrough. So where possible, stay the course. But of course, if you do need to stop, you're welcome to at any time. Whilst we do this, stillness in the body really helps. But of course, it's totally fine if you need to rearrange yourself, scratch an itch, cough, or do whatever you need to do to remain comfortable. Anytime you have any questions, you can just ask a question or raise a hand. You also might need me to shut up at some point because you're onto something and I'm getting in the way. So you can also ask me to give you a minute or two. Okay.
Okay.
Now, just notice as well, sometimes we suddenly get very yawny, very sleepy, almost like a part of us wants to check out. And so I want you just to really set the intention here that you are really feeling willing to go to any age, any time, as a young child, but also in your adulthood, as a young entrepreneur, It could be anything up until this morning, that you're willing and that you're open to go anywhere and everywhere that you need to.
I'm willing.
Great. So we first induce a relaxed meditative state because that puts you into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is basically the nervous system related to deep feelings of safety. So simply to do that, you slow your breathing down. Don't worry about your mind being busy. Just focus on your breathing and concentrate on the out breath, elongating the out breath and pausing before you breathe in. Then when you breathe in, you do breathe in all the way, savoring the breath. And then at the top of your in-breath, maybe pausing for maybe 3-4 seconds before you breathe out. And when you breathe out, you breathe all the air out of your body. Most people don't fully let go of all of the air. And as you do that, once your body is empty of all of the air, you pause for maybe a second or two. That pause at the bottom of your out breath will take you deeper and deeper into this state of peace. What we're doing is building up the feeling of safety in your body so that it is comfortable for you to objectively explore any time in your past where you got scared, where it was hard, any time in the past where you needed support as a young child or as an adult. So that anything that arises or anything that surfaces within adult objective awareness, where you know you're in a chair, you're safe, you're secure, that there's nothing dangerous about feeling feelings, thinking thoughts. And with that willingness and with that commitment, so you are able to feel and think. So in a few moments' time, I'm going to count down from 10 to 1. I ask you to ask your inner mind to use the countdown to take you deeper into a state of readiness. At the count of 1, imagining that you feel very open, very relaxed, feeling very safe, curious, in fact, really willing to be there for yourself, or any younger versions of yourself. But we're setting this intention that recently you've been feeling this anxiety, this tension around this project and around the gap between the success that you know is coming and the speed at which it's arriving. And that's been hard for a part of you. And with great compassion, we're going to count down from 10 to 1. So the count of 1, you're able to locate that part or find that part or welcome that part to come and be with you. So ready. 10. On your next out breath, consciously choose to relax your jaw. 9, slowing your breathing down. Remember to breathe all the way out, all the way in, making each cycle of breath last longer. And 8, deeper and deeper. Just notice the sensations of relaxation moving down through your mind, out across your shoulders, down through your arms to your fingertips, and all the way down your spine, through your pelvis, into your legs, down to your toes. Just as you breathe, let the breath be like deeply relaxing, soothing medicine. And 6, deeper and deeper. And 5, halfway down. Most people feel the second half from 5 to 1. It feels even deeper. It's more noticeable. Just notice what you notice as sensations that are in keeping with this meditative relaxation, feeling of safety, feeling of curiosity, a deep willingness to really be there for yourself. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Deep, deep, deep down. Connected, connecting, really curious. And so, to support you in this negotiation with yourself, first of all, I would like you to journey to a place where you feel a place in the world where you feel ultimately relaxed. Could be a favorite place of yours, could be on some beautiful hilltop or a beautiful beach. I want you to imagine that you're there alone. And you might think of a few different places. It might be somewhere you've gone many times, but then one place will stand out to you. And when you have that place, you can let me know by nodding your head.
I'm starting to find one.
That's totally fine.
Mm.
And then one will suddenly just kind of appeal
Oh.
to you more, like a holiday destination. You're like, oh yeah, I'd like to go there.
Mm.
Yeah, great.
Mm.
So to make that more vivid, to generate the biochemicals of relaxation in real time in your body, use your imagination to make that place vivid. How we do that is with the senses. Like, what colors do you associate with that place? And what's the temperature? What's the humidity? And what would you be wearing there? Even what smells or tastes? What's the texture of the ground? So just build up your senses of that place and notice how much you love being there and allow yourself to love being there right now. Like every out breath is a sigh of like, ah, this is lovely. Really enjoying that. And it is here that I would like you to send out an invitation to this part of you who's been worrying recently. You can imagine being sat on a bench and inviting them to join you, or inviting them to sit down on the floor with you, or maybe enjoy the view with you. You might find yourself in the perfect place to have a conversation. And it can take some time, and it could be a younger version of you, could also be a version of you from your entrepreneurial journey in your 20s or 30s. And they may appear visually to you, like clear as a bell. Or you may just get a sense that they're listening, and you might not get any visual process at all, and that's totally fine. But when you feel their presence, and you can invite them to join you, and you are in connection with them, either visually or just emotionally, or that you know they're listening, or you have a sense of them, you can let me know by nodding your head.
I'm struggling to identify that. Make it one part that's coming. I mean, is it the sensations of a part of me that's fearful or what? It's not coming as a, I mean, I'm not very visual, so
That's totally fine. So can you notice where in your body that you feel that center place, that the way that it feels like a contraction, right? It's like you're all expanded, everything's going great, and then there's this It's not quite going how you thought it was. There's that fear, there's that contracted sensation, right?
Hmm.
Can you
Yeah.
locate where that happens in the body?
Yes.
Okay. So,
In solar plexus and tummy, that
okay. So
area.
just take one of your hands and place it there just to bring your attention. But I want the attention to be loving and compassionate and kind. Like this feeling is welcome here. In the past, you squashed it down, kept busy, didn't give it much space, right? And that you've been now learning to acknowledge these feelings, which is great. So I want you to make this feeling feel very welcome. We're not here to get rid of it.
Mm.
And we don't need any visual reference points. But as we connect to that, you can ask it and you can feel into it. It's like, when have I felt this before? And sometimes it will just tell us an age, or we'll find ourselves just being drawn to memories. Don't dismiss anything. It might be a tiny fragment of a tiny memory. When you really welcome that feeling, you'll notice you've probably felt it before. And then you can ask it, when did I feel this before? What younger part of me needs more support? What happened in the past? And then just notice if anything arises, and don't worry if anything doesn't.
I feel like I carry it all the time with me, but I'm not spotting this specific. I realize how much it is there a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't acknowledge it.
Mm.
I'm not managing to get it to one specific kind of
Fine.
age or part because I've been feeling this actually a lot and just suppressing it.
Got it. So it's actually really part of your core kind of existential experience of life, but you don't dwell on it because you like to be happy, you like to be confident, you've achieved good things. So you don't like to spend time with this feeling. You don't like this feeling, you like the other feeling, right?
Yeah. I've been told all my life that I have no reason to feel that feeling.
Mm. So I want you to try something different. I want you to apologize for ignoring that feeling, suppressing it, denying it, ignoring it. I know you may have done that before, but just today, afresh, say to it literally, hey, I'm really sorry. It's almost like you're expressing that you could have been a better father to that feeling. Like you have learned how to be a better father to your children. And have you brought that same level of parenting to this feeling, to this part of you? Probably started from a very, very long time ago, probably a very young part of you. If you could adopt him and take a moment to have a powerful conversation with him, like you have learned, like you teach parents to do. And maybe it's verbal, or maybe it's just expressed in the heart. But just bring a quality of love and kindness to this feeling that it's needed. And I want you to ask it, is there anything you want me to look at today? Is there a specific memory or time that you want help with today? Because I'm all ears, I'm all heart, I'm really here to help. What are you holding on to that you need some help with?
Mm. Memory comes to mind that I've already seen before.
Yep. Which is it? What's happening? Let that come.
My mother is throwing a bin at my sister's head. A metal bin.
Mm-hmm.
She's in rage.
So don't be reasonable. Don't explain it. Don't contextualize it. Don't make excuses for her. Just be in the horror of what it was to witness that and what it meant. Even at a very young age, we're very quick to make sense. We're very quick to make excuses. We're very quick to. I want you to stay in the raw emotional feeling of witnessing a parent doing that to a child and how wrong it is. Sometimes we process the feeling of disappointment in terms of the fear, we process the anger, but I want you to really find that part of you who's really knew them. The most painful part was that that's not okay. My mum is not mumming right. That's the worst bit. Keep breathing. Let that be felt in the body. Notice the part of your brain that still wants to make excuses, make explanation, even bring in forgiveness. Don't do any of that reasonable stuff yet. Be in the unreasonable upset, the heartbreak. Underneath it all, when our parent behaves inappropriately, it ruptures our sense of safety in principle. My my foundations of stability are not stable. I'm not safe. He's been living in that place, watching that over and over and over again. I want you, and I know you've worked on that memory, worked on the fear, worked on the anger. And I want you to
Was
really
this? And there was disgust.
disgust. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for naming them. So I want you to say out loud these words, but not from the adult, from the child. Okay? I'm disgusted by my mother. In your native tongue.
T'es pas ma mère.
Now, if you can, you may have already, but if you can, bring him onto your lap, you wrap your arms around him, and you help him express this. Say it's safe for him to say this now. What she did was wrong. It's revolting. It's disgusting. And if she was doing that in rage, there was a whole bunch of other things that she was doing in rage at other times that were not okay. So he's scared. He doesn't feel safe. And arguably, his terror, his fear has probably driven you to not live in fear and to try and be happy, and also to make sure parents don't maltreat their children. It's what you've dedicated your life to. So I want you to invite him to come home with you. I want you to tell him you're going to look after him and that you're really sorry this happened to him. Well, this is why you've gone on to do what you do. And that not only would that never ever happen to you ever again, but you've worked hard to make sure that it doesn't happen to other kids in the world. And your mission to bring emotional intelligence to kids, but covertly to parents through the process, is a way of saying, not just you, but I want to protect all the kids in the world from parents who can't manage their emotions. And here you are trying to bring this project to the world, and it's happening and people are loving it, but it hasn't been taken up as quickly by all the schools as it could, which means there are still kids in homes being shouted at, having bins flung at them, and you haven't been able to reach them. It's not the anxiety of the money, Nadim, it's the anxiety that there are kids out there that you want to protect from parents who don't know any better. There's an urgency and a desire and a driven pain inside that child who never, just doesn't want kids to live in homes where they're scared. We get so caught up in the business and the numbers and wanting to help. But what's driving underneath is just an incredible heart that doesn't want any child to ever, ever, ever have to experience witnessing or experiencing a parent be out of control in rage. That's where this anxiety is coming from. That's why you want to get it out into the world. So you put your arms around him, you say, we're doing it, kid. We're doing it. And thank you for your urgency. I share it. And these things take time. And we're good. He hasn't seen how you become as a father. There was a time when you recognized you didn't want to be shouting at your kids and that there had to be tech out there to help, and you studied it and you changed it and you turned it around. Your kids are amazing. Despite what you experienced, you've become an amazing father and you now teach people to be better parents. You live in a beautiful home. He hasn't seen it. He hasn't even met your kids. So I want you to invite your kids in to come and take him out of that place and bring him to your new home. He's like, look here, he's like looking around, beautiful art you've got in there, the size of the ceilings, and now sit him down on your beautiful couch and invite him to meet your kids. And he'll look in their eyes and he can see these kids aren't scared. They're not scared of their dad. And I want you to let him know you want to adopt him. And you want his help, making your work even better for kids and even better for parents. But we need to do it gently, without push, without shove, with faith. He wasn't worried about money. He was worried about kids, unprotected. It doesn't mean there isn't financial pressure. It's different. And this is just the beginning. It takes time. But you need his help and he needs you. So you're going to bring him into the project. I want you to include him in your decisions. You bring him into the boardroom. Show him
That's
your
what I just thought.
Yeah, you bring him into the boardroom. He loves the colorful designs of your books. He approves. But he can help you do it better. But only if he feels safe. And he can be really playful and really creative. And actually, it was his desire to play and be free and be happy that's driven so much of this. I mean, probably own a decent, significant share in the business. And so just now allow your adult faith, your adult awareness. You've got a good plan. You're following a good plan. It's working. Just to round it out, to move through it. The adulting, to ground that in so that you can enjoy the process. And people always say, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. But the journey sucks. Invariably, the entrepreneurial journey, it's hard, it's up and down. We don't want to base our happiness on the journey. The journey is wildly variable and external, material, mechanical. Where we find our joy is who we're becoming on the journey. And that you can do with him integrated. So I want you to imagine kind of bringing him back into your body with this awareness. So he gets to live with you, and that he gets to realize he is you, you are him, you are connected. He finds his place in your timeline. And you feel a peace and an excitement and a certainty and a confidence coming back in, where your mission inspires you. And it inspires amazing people. You're attracting incredible people into your world who want to help you bring this to the world. It's all happening in divine timing. So as you kind of allow this young version of you to grow inside you, so you are growing inside the field, the divine field. So you're wrapping your loving arms around this child, and also there are loving arms being wrapped around you. And imagine yourself just in a way more peaceful, way more powerful, way more creative way, dealing with your team more effectively, staying in faith, staying in the center, staying in certainty, and enjoying it way, way more. So thanking every part of you, particularly thanking the protector inside us that makes a decision as to what we can and can't handle, letting it know that even though that was emotionally painful, it felt liberating, like a weight is lifted off, another part of you brought home, thanking it for access, acknowledging that releasing emotional pain is always safe and always worth doing. Taking a couple of deep breaths. I'm just noticing if there's anything that young version of you would like to do today or tomorrow, like anything you can do this week or the weekend that would be kind of playful, something that maybe you haven't done in a long time, with go out dancing or draw a picture or something that it would love that you could do with it.
Have an ice cream.
Well, it's the weather for it. It's the weather for it right now, so it's beautiful. I think that's doable.
And dancing.
When I first suggested it, I felt dancing. So maybe dancing with an ice cream. Who knows? Perfect. Excellent. Well, thanking your soul, thanking your heart, thanking your unconscious mind, thanking all these different parts of you. We count it from 1 to 10 with each rising number. So feeling more clear, integrated, more peaceful, more calm, feeling really good, feeling really hopeful. You've got so many good things going for you right now. It's exciting. And feeling grateful for this opportunity to connect once again to all these different parts inside us that need help, need integration. So ready, 1 and 2 coming around. Breathing deep, 3 and 4, 5, feeling peaceful, feeling connected, feeling adult and whole. Ready, 6 and 7 and 8. Just very gently opening your eyes to a soft gaze, all normal sensations, and every part of you back here in the present. And 9 and 10, fully back here in the present.
Yeah. Mm. Actually, the funny part is I had my kids coming in just when
Really?
when I just after introducing the part to
Oh,
the
really?
kids. My, my daughter knocked on the door and opened the door, and she saw I didn't have to speak. She saw I was indeed
Yeah,
present.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And,
At the same time, at the exact time. That's
and what it was, yeah, what's interesting is I realize that I often get that
mm,
anger towards them
mm,
when they interrupt things that I do or things like that.
mhm.
And it's actually an anger at also at the things are not going the way I want them to go.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I have that stress that thing not going, and that felt different this time.
Mm,
I didn't feel the anger. It was like, they're just doing the best they can. They have no idea.
mm,
And it's that that I feel there's hopefully something there.
yeah.
And that's really important of transforming that bit of I think can be related to that.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
something so
Mm-hmm.
much about, the interconnected timing of things. I have definitely at times felt utterly stalled in something that should have been flowing. But really it's just certain jigsaw pieces need to be in place for the next jigsaw piece that we're working on to have somewhere to go.
Mm,
And it's just we feel like we're just
yes.
stalled and other people's, things are coming into bloom and blossom,
It's
we're,
it's
we're,
really like it's really strange. It's so true. I'm actually about to hit send as an email to Richard Branson to talk about collaborating to amplifying the message to schools. And I feel that it's so much more relevant now that I've just done this session. And I realize is that urgency of really wanting to make this available, not just out of fear of money, but actually out of really realizing how unacceptable it is that we just continue. We don't have safe spaces at schools or at home.
or at home. And there are still
Mm,
untold amounts of children whose parents aren't able, even though the love is there, to say the words that they love. This
yeah.
shouldn't.
Or to get or as I used to do, and still sometimes exceptionally do get angry and get in, in a state of rage. But thankfully, I control what my mom didn't control, but still, it's
Mhm.
still a lack of safety for the kids. So thankfully, it's now much less, oh, almost non-existent. But wow, I mean, I couldn't help even in that deep state that I was.
Yeah.
I could not feel a bit of guilt of having reproduced that when my kids were younger.
Yeah, of course.
And it's a long process to actually get out of it. But it's the courage to embrace it and to just go, you know what? Why would I actually just accept this and not like let go of the guilt and just do it? Have the courage to do it actually, because you have to go there. I mean, you have to go deep
Yeah.
to be able to uncover it.
Beautiful. Agreed. 100%. Oh, well, listen, thank you. It was beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. I didn't do much.
You did a lot. You really did. And your willingness, it's the key. People watching this might be like, wow, it's going on these painful journeys. It's like the painful journey is one thing, and the content that you release is important. But I think the thing that's the most transformational, we're going to end on this point, is the willingness to support ourselves through that, the willingness to go and look. That is self-love action. That is reparenting. That is adopting ourselves. That is what heals it. It's because someone adult has gone back to that younger version of us and said, I'm here for you. It's because we didn't feel that we ran into all sorts of trouble. So we're reversing it. Yes, what gets released is so good for us and good for our mental health and good for our physical health. It's the relationship. It's the primary relationship of willingness to be a good parent to ourselves and to listen to and to feel, to go
I,
through it.
yeah, I feel there may be a breakthrough here as well in that session because I've been wanting to feel more and to just reconnect with my body. And there's always a disconnection that happens, and it is often down to these difficult feelings that you don't want to feel again. So actually being that child, that part of me that actually experienced that and actually be able to make it present in everything I do. And therefore, I know if maybe go into fear, it's fine because we can actually deal with it. We can transform it. We can, it's
Yeah.
really nice, another
Nice.
metaphor and great. Thank you, Tom,
Oh,
for your wisdom and for your guidance.
no, my absolute pleasure. We'll speak soon.
Thank you. Take care.